and then we have to go looking to the forest because of the most of the mines are just hidden in the forest. That's the best part of the exploration for my part. Heading out a whole day, walking with the GPS, and oh look here, there's a little hole.
Off-Gassing, a scuba podcast with host Nick Hogel. On today's episode, I speak with Kurt Storms, a technical and rebreather instructor out of Belgium. I was able to catch Kurt before he traveled to Malta for the 3rd Annual Divesoft Liberty Summit, a family holiday as he explains it. I reached out to Kurt after seeing his photography work, and he was kind enough to come onto the podcast for an interview. He tells me about finding and exploring mines, underwater photography, some challenges of traveling with a rebreather, and why he gravitated towards the Divesoft Liberty. Please enjoy. Kurt, how are you doing this afternoon?
Well, I'm fine. It's a busy day for me because I'm leaving tomorrow to Malta for diving with Divesoft. So it's getting busy. I have to prepare everything of the equipment. I can use my time, but for you.
Awesome. Well, I will definitely get back to that because I'm very curious to know. Hopefully, if you can talk about a little bit more about that. But I usually like to start my first question. Tell me about how and why you got into scuba diving. What was the draw, and how was that first experience, that first breath underwater?
Well, then we have to go back around 14 years ago. I was on holiday with my family, with my 2 little kids and my wife, and we always doing a trip with a boat for snorkeling. And it was in Egypt, and I said, everybody talks about diving, but diving, I didn't know anything of diving. And I saw there was a couple of guys preparing the scuba tanks, and I said to my wife, I want to do that. I want to try it. So I gonna ask how much it costs. It was around 30 euros. And I have to jump in the water. We did a little try dive. I saw Nemo for the first time very close to my eyes, and I was very happy. And afterwards, when I returned to the surface, the first thing I said to my wife, said, yeah, I have to do this. I'm gonna do this more. So it was also the end of the holiday, and we came back to Belgium, and yeah, I was searching for a club here in Belgium for learning to scuba dive, and that's how I started breathing underwater, and I'm still loving it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I'm assuming in Egypt it's warmer down there, and Belgium is probably gonna be a little bit colder. How was that transition?
Well, of course, Egypt is tropical water. It's between 26, 29 degrees. Here in Belgium, we have in the winter time 5 degrees, 6 degrees. In the summer, around 20, 22 degrees. But it was end of December when I started to learn to scuba dive. So before I heading to the open water, it was around April.
Oh, okay,
so the water was around 15, 16 degrees at that moment, but it was in a wetsuit. And of course, when you start diving, you have so much of adrenaline, so you don't feel the cold. But now I don't wear any wetsuit anymore. It's always with dry suit.
I would probably be the same. But the cold water didn't faze you. You were happy to dive in the cold water?
Yeah, I was very happy. Okay, the dives back then are very different of the dives I do now, but I joined it. Okay, the visibility here in Belgium is also not that like in Egypt. So we have here visibilities of 50 centimeters till 5, 6, 7 meters. So it's not for saying wow, but we have a lot of things to see, especially when we going over the border with Holland. We have a river, het Scheldt we call it. There did I my dives before. Now I'm doing my dives more in the old abandoned mines here in Belgium. Yeah, it's green. It's not blue water. It's green water. Yeah, so it was a very big difference with Egypt. But I'm still going to Egypt and tropical waters, so I'm enjoying both of them.
Yeah. Do you bring your dry suit to Egypt?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, really. Yeah. I going a couple of times in a year to Egypt for teaching, and also for when we're going on a family holiday or something. Sometimes Egypt is also on the agenda, but I'm taking always my dry suit with me.
Okay.
It's my second buoyancy.
Yeah, no, that's very true. Tell me about your progression. So when you joined the club and you started taking classes, was it just like, obviously I want to take the next class, because you're a pretty accomplished diver, so you want to kind of talk to me a little bit about your progression through the sport?
Yeah, my progression to the diver that I'm now. In the early days, I did my open water course, advanced open water course, my deep diver course. It was on a short notice. I think it was about 1 year and a half I did that courses. But afterwards, I would to do other kind of stuffs, like I would like to learn to decompression. Decompression dives on the North Sea. In the past, I loved to dive on wrecks on the North Sea, but it was with a single tank. So the bottom time is not that long. You had a little decompression, but I didn't have any decompression gas with me. I didn't know that time. And on a moment, I crossed my instructor at that moment for advanced night walks. Okay, it was with INTD. It was another organization, and yeah, we were talking. I would like to go longer, deeper with decompression. Okay, let's start advanced night walks course. The positive thing of that was my instructor. It was a cave instructor.
Okay.
So he took me my first steps into the Belgium mines. It was lovely. The first time it was, wow, it was big, it was dark, but the visibility, it was, wow, 20-30 meters of visibility in a dark underground place. So I was, wow. I did my cavern at that moment. And after that, I did some other courses, like my technical courses, and also my instructor course. My first instructor course I did in 2015, I think, and I became an instructor. And afterwards, I got my certificates for rebreather instructor, normoxic trimix instructor, and this year I did my last course, and it was my full cave instructor course. So it was around, on 10 years ago. I passed a lot of courses. I practiced very much, but I'm still loving it, and I love to take my passion over to my students, and that's what's the most important thing is for me, giving my passion over to other people.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's awesome. So when you well, actually, let me ask you this first. So the first time that you went into a mine, were you nervous? Was it just kind of like, did you want to know more? Like I've personally never been in a mine. I've only been in the cavern zone, never a cave. And then also, is there a lot of mines where you are? Is that kind of why you're drawn to that?
Well, I was very nervous because you don't know what you're gonna have to expect. Eric, that's his name of my instructor. he said, yeah, you don't have to be afraid. It's really big. You can drive with a truck into it.
Oh, wow.
So, okay. So it's not narrow. No. It's very big. It's not that far, but you will enjoy it. So, yeah, it was very nervous. We did our S-drill, our checks. We had the right equipment at that moment because I was already diving with a twin set. I could do my valve shutdowns, so there was no problem at that moment. But I really enjoyed it. And that was my first mine. We have a lot of mines here in Belgium, but you're not allowed to dive.
Oh, really?
There are only a couple. Yeah, there are only a couple systems here in Belgium we can dive if you are a member of a spiller club. So it's about five mines. They're not big, but we have in Belgium more than 200-300 mines.
Oh, that are all flooded.
Yeah, the most of them are flooded. So we have to do it every time when it's dark. We're gonna go to some mines to explore, and sometimes, like a couple of years ago, we had luck. We found a mine in the Belgium Ardennes. It was on a private property of a hotel, and we knew that there was a mine over there because we have the papers, we have here some magazines, we did our research. So we knocked on his door and I said, "Hey, how are you?" "Ah, okay. Yeah, we are here a group of divers. We like to explore everything. But I think you have here a mine on your property." "Oh, yeah. I use it for water. I use it for water in my hotel." "Okay, yeah. Yeah, but I didn't try it before. I'm also a diver," he said, "but I'm afraid to dive in it." "Oh, yeah, okay." So it was very funny, and then the question of the group came by him from, "Hey, do you want to dive here?" Yeah, that's the meaning. So we started a project. It was a lovely project. We managed to dive on the level of 76 meters.
Oh, wow.
And we had more than 600 meters of line into the cave, into the mine. It was massive. It was, of course, cold. Afterwards, we drew a map of the mine, so the owner also knew what's under his buildings. And we took some shells, a bottle of wine that was still over there, some wood. We took it to the surface for the owner. And it was very lovely. But
awesome.
something like that, you can't do that alone because the entrance was a block of it was about 1.5 meter on 1.5 meter, and then we had to descend on a ladder around 40 meters to descend. So it was teamwork. I didn't do that alone. We had people dragging our stuff down and back up after the dive. My wife did it also. She helped us also. I was one of the push divers with my best friend for laying the line. And then we had Vic. He was the guy for shooting the pictures and some video. So everybody had his own job, and we managed to do it together.
Oh, that sounds amazing. I have so many questions. Well, one is, why is there such a huge number of mines? Is it just, I mean, obviously they're mining for something, I'm assuming, but and then they just get, once they're tapped out, they're abandoned and then they flood in?
Yeah, the mining here in Belgium, then we going back to 1700s and each. Where the start of the mining, but we had here a lot of slate mines. They use the slates to make how do I have to say it, for the shells of the housing. They use
Okay.
it. Yeah. So it was a lot of big business in that time, but afterwards there was not a lot of questions anymore for the slates. So yeah, the companies stopped working over there, and they're just shutting off the pumps, and the water level came back up, and it's what it's now.
So when you're researching a mine to go dive, is there a lot of information out there, or is it hit or miss? Like, do you know what you're getting into before you get into the mine?
No, we have, of course, some lecture of it, but I'm speaking Dutch. So Belgium, we have a couple of languages. So I speak Dutch. We have a part of French, and we have a part of Germany. So, and I don't speak any French. Not that good enough. And the most of the lecture are in French.
Okay.
And it's not always you don't always have a map. We have the coordinates, we have the information what they have mined over there, but not from the depth or something. And then we have to go looking to the forest because of the most of the mines are just hidden in the forest. That's the best part of the exploration for my part. Heading out a whole day, walking with the GPS, and oh look here, there's a little hole. Okay, let's we have to dig a little bit. Okay, we can go inside. Where is the water level? Oh, okay, and then it starts just diving, because we don't know, is it the gallery, is it falling in with some stones, so we can't pass any further. So yeah, that's done the new exploration, and we have now here in Belgium, we did a little bit of explorations, and yeah, it's nice. The deepest mine here in Belgium is 150 meters.
And you've been to it, down it?
Not me. I have a friend of mine. He did because it was his exploration. It was not mine.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
he went to 150.
Wow. That's got to be pretty intense to be that far in and down. Yeah. You're also saying that a lot of the mines you can't dive. Why is that? Is that like a government thing, or is it because it's on private property? Is it they deem it too dangerous, or?
Yeah, it's government property. The most of the mines, or some still are in personal possession. The government don't like that we dive over there because it's dangerous. They don't want to have some accidents into the mines, because otherwise they can have some problems if there is somebody die into a mine. And it was so it's not always very easy. So we have to go a lot of to the mines at the evening. We do our dives then at night. And when the morning comes, we going back home.
That's awesome. Okay. Do you have a top discovery or anything that you've like what's your favorite mine that you've found, or what's the coolest thing that you've found in a mine?
My favorite mine is called Malonia. It's almost the half part of the Belgium cave divers did there already some dives. But the coolest thing I discovered in a mine was all the machinery that we found. They are not big machineries, but it's nice to see it over there. How the time stops over there.
Oh yeah.
Because the mine we discovered a couple of years ago, the last person was in the mine in 1913. So it was more than 100 years later that we went into the mine.
Oh wow.
So that's amazing. And if you're going a small corridor and you get a big gallery, big room, it is wow. You can we always diving with a rebreather into the mines. Especially me. Yeah, you can talk a little bit through the rebreather. So I have some movies that I took with my Paralens, and that you hear me from. Oh, look at this! Um, no, yeah, it's my passion. I didn't know before I started cave diving or mine diving. I didn't know anything of cave diving. I was just a recreational diver, and on the right moment, on the right spot, I met the perfect person to teach me, and I'm still enjoying it.
Tell me a little bit about what goes into prepping. So you've just found a new mine. You want to go and explore it. Like, tell me a little bit about getting your team together, like how the planning process is, like, can you talk to me a little bit about that?
Yeah, the team I'm have my it's more always the same people that we have surrounded to each other. We also diving in our free time with each other, and not always into the mines. Also open water quarries or something. It's not me alone. We have everybody's looking at some free evenings from. Oh yeah, we can go over there. These are the coordinates. Oh, maybe we have to take a look of there. And then on a free weekend, one of 2 or 3 guys of us, we going to that place. We're going to look for it. If we have found it, we will enter the mine. If it's diveable, not diveable. If it's diveable, okay, then we're gonna ask the permission sometimes of the owner. We're gonna do some research, also some of the governments. Sometimes there are some governments they say, okay, you can dive, but you have time from this day till this day, and then you have to end your project, and then we explain everything what we found. We make some mappings so they can use it also. What are we are not just going into the mines for having fun. We are also going to the mines for afterwards for looking from, is it stable? Is it still stable? Because the root is sometimes we had some mines we could put our finger into the root, so
Oh,
it's not stable anymore, and that are we passing then to the government or to the private person. So yeah, it's always teamwork, and we try to go always at the same time. But the guy who most of the time take the pictures and the movies, he's 9 years old.
oh,
He's still diving with reader. Um, we're doing the work, and afterwards, when the line is over there, we said, okay, Vic, now it's time. You can come for taking pictures, making some movies. So it's teamwork, and it will always be teamwork. You can't do that alone. It's not always simple to enter the mines. So we have to crawl, we have to take some rope to get down, to get up. So no, it's not just for saying on a Sunday morning, oh, honey, I'm going to dive, I will be back at noon. No, we will say we start in the morning and we end in the evening. So yeah, sometimes you're very happy, and sometimes you just do all that effort for getting into the mine. You have your gear over there. You do your dry suit on. You do your rebreathers on, and then you go down. And after 10 meters, it's done. There is no passing by. Okay, shit. And then we go back. So it's not always a big happy faces. It's sometimes all the most of the part. It's from okay, we did all that effort, but it's not diveable here. But we know it now. So,
can check it off the list now.
yeah.
So you were mentioning rebreathers. So obviously I'm assuming just kind of wanting to go deeper, stay longer. That's how you got into rebreathers. And currently you are a Divesoft ambassador?
Yeah, I'm a Divesoft ambassador. From last year I was Divesoft buddy. From this year I'm now a full ambassador. I also dive with other units before, so it's not my first rebreather. I bought my first rebreather about 10 years ago. But on a moment I did a dive and I had so many bailouts, open circuit bottles with me, and it was not funny anymore. I had my scooter with me, I had a backup scooter, and I came back after that dive around 4 hours, and I said to my wife, this is the last time I did a dive with so many bottles. So I went on a search for a bailout rebreather. For me there was only one bailout rebreather, and it was Divesoft. Now I'm only diving with Divesoft anymore. They are so reliable, redundancy, it's great engineering, and they're still making it better. Like I have before other brands, I don't gonna say any other brands, but they have their unit, and 20 years later it's still the same unit. Only some electronics are updated, but that's done from another company, a big Canadian company. So Divesoft, they do it all by themselves. They're making the computers, they're making the rebreathers. It's all into the house that's over there. It's not because I'm an ambassador of Divesoft that I like Divesoft. No, in the first place I loved Divesoft as a diver, and afterwards the instructor came and the ambassador came, and it's one big family. We are not rebreather divers of Divesoft. No, we are one family. Like tomorrow we're going to Malta. My wife is coming with me, and it's around 30 dives over there, all instructors, and we're gonna make some fun. We're gonna make some great dives. It's one big family. It's a family holiday.
That's awesome. So it's just a fun diving trip, not like any exploration or anything. Okay, cool. So you dive 2 units. Do you have a back mount and then you use the side mount as the bailout rebreather?
Yeah, I have 2 side mount rebreathers and I have 1 back mount rebreather, but the most parts I dive back mount with a bailout rebreather as a side mount. It depends also with what kind of dives you're gonna do. If you're gonna do cave diving where it's very narrow, yeah, then I take my side mount rebreather, or I take 2 side mount rebreathers. But the most of the part of my deeper dives where I have the space, and I dive with my back mount unit and bailout unit as my side mount. So, and I love it.
I was gonna say, and that probably drastically reduced the amount of bottles that you had to carry. I'm sure.
Yeah. I'm still carrying 1 bottle with me for if there is a problem, so I can bail out on upper circuit gas to prepare my other unit, and then switching over to the other unit. It's quiet. You have the same electronics, so everything is the same brand, and that's also a positive point of diving a dual CCR.
And then my next question I wanted to ask you is about your photography. When did you get into photography? Was that before you were diving, or and then it just kind of transitioned into diving?
I was a really nerd in the past. I started photographing 20 years ago. Yeah, 22 years ago. But I was airplane spotter, so I was a nerd. But I loved it. But then I get some kids, and you don't have any time to go to the airfields anymore. So that passion was over. And then a couple of years ago, with the explorations, Vic, the guy who takes the pictures every time, he said, yeah, good, but you have to go back on photography. Yeah, but I have to buy all that equipment and everything. And he helped me back to get some equipment together. I was used to get pictures in open air, not in dark spaces. It was very difficult. So he gave me a lot of tips and especially tricks. And I started back to photograph, and I love it back now. I'm shooting now with a Sony. My most pictures I take is wide angle, fisheye, because I'm not that kind of fish lover. Yeah, no, it's. I love to take wide angle shots. And in the beginning, I was always taking pictures of a model in a cave, a model in a mine, a model in a wreck. But it was always the model. And then a couple of years ago, I met Alex Dawson, the greatest photographer in the world, and he gave me also some tips and tricks. And I was shooting at back then always with strobes, and strobes is good for 2-3 meters, but not for taking wide angle shots from big rooms. It's not possible with strobes. And he said, yeah, but you have to put the strobes aside, and you have to use torches. I got a good deal with a manufacturer, and I have now torches for 55,000 luma for giving me enough light. and I still need more light. It's not enough. But I transformed myself from a strobe lover to a light lover, and now I'm diving always without strobes. If I'm going now tomorrow to Malta, I will go down to the wrecks without strobes. I'm just taking the picture with ambient light. Maybe some places putting a light to have some, how do I say it, some color in it. But that's how I take now pictures. It's if you see the pictures of a couple of years ago and now, it's a big difference.
Okay, cool. Which Sony do you have?
I use the Sony A7R4.
Oh, okay, cool. I have the Sony A4. Yeah, I'm a Sony fan, and I've looked into, and it might be in the future, I'm not sure. It's just a kind of like you said, it's just a whole different thing to get into, because I do land, just shooting on dry land is it's a strictly hobby, not professional or anything, and I really enjoy it. So I was like, oh, it'd be kind of cool to bring this hobby underwater, but kind of like what you're saying, you just start bringing more equipment. So when you're carrying like all these lights for a photo shoot, do you have someone else carry the lights, or is it like the team effort to carry the lights?
Yeah, it's a team effort. The most of the lights are on floaters, so they are a little bit positive, so we can put them on the ceiling. I'm always diving with a couple of persons, so they can put the lights, but it's always before we're going to dive, we know I have a vision of that place. I know how do I want to do it. With my buddy who's on the most pictures, I don't have to say anything anymore. I can go with him to a wreck or to a mine, and I think he has the same eyes like me. And he knows, I have to, this is a good spot. Okay, we put here the lights. Okay, I will go over there. And Kurt has a good picture. But that's not with everybody. The most of the part when I'm shooting with other people, my wife is also on a lot of pictures. Then it's before the dive, a briefing. Okay, I have this. I will have that light over there, you going over there, and it's a program that we going through. With strobes it's much easier, because with strobes you can shoot on the fly because you have the model has one or two strobes on his back. He has maybe one in his hand, and if he sees a good spot, he turns, I shoot. Then it's a strobe very, very easy. But with lights, it's a little bit different.
Do you have like a favorite? I hate asking any photographer this, but like a favorite shot, or do you have like a favorite place that you like to go to get shots that you just kind of set up differently every time, or just one place that stands out above the rest? Yeah, I hate this question. Sorry.
Yeah,
there's too many, I'm sure.
I'm thinking now. I love to go to Germany to a flooded mine called Felicitas. That's where I take my pictures of all the machinery, and every time I don't know, I can't count anymore the dives I did over there. But every time I try something different over there because I know the place and I can think before what I'm gonna try this and this. But I love the best picture I took. I think it's from a couple months ago. It was just from dolphins.
Ah, okay.
I was in Egypt with my wife, just a recreational dive with Egypt friend of mine, and I call him the dolphin whisperer because yeah, every time I saw pictures of him or movies, it was always with dolphins. I said, yeah, okay, Abdul, I will come back again, but you have to show me dolphins. And the first dive, I was diving with Caroline. He came to me and said, hey, come follow me. And 5 minutes later, there was, I think, a group of 22 dolphins.
Oh, wow.
Just passing by. It was 10 seconds, and I had a great shot of it.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, I was very, very lucky at that moment.
Yeah, no, for sure. So, and then my next question, because obviously with the photography gear, the rebreather gear, not to mention any other dive gear that you're bringing with you for travel. I know me, when I'm traveling with very limited gear, I'm like, okay, my camera stays with me, goes on the plane, because, you know, that's just the type of person I am, so I can grab it out or whatnot. So when you're traveling, do you have specific items that you'll carry on with you? And then also, like, what's the challenges that you face traveling with this amount of equipment?
Well, the first challenge we have is the weight. I have now booked 3 times 32 kilograms. So I have 96 kilograms with me. Yeah, I'm sorry. Without hand luggage, of course. But the rebreathers, they go into a box. But I use an AirTag. So I can always see where it is. The lids of the rebreather, so the electronics of the rebreather, Divesoft, it's amazing. They have a little luggage for it, so I can take it as a hand luggage with me. And then I have my camera. He's also going into a box, also with the AirTag. So yeah, I have a lot of equipment with me, but at this time, and I hope it's keeping like this. I never had any problems with it.
Because I think I'm pretty sure it's Divesoft. They'll give you like a pamphlet in case the security asks for something. You can say, hey, this is what this is. Do you ever run into problems where people are like, what is this thing you're carrying? Like, you know, the head of the unit.
Yeah, every time when I'm on the airfield and I'm going to the customers, and they always have to check my gear. Divesoft has with every unit they sell, you receive a passport of it. So it's in that passport it says, okay, this is a rebreather. It means for diving. This and this and this part is in it. And it's also safe to dive, to fly with the batteries and everything. And it's also said this part cost $5,000 US. So every time especially in Egypt. Here in Belgium or Europe, it's not that big problem because you can explain it very good to the people. What is it? Don't. Okay, I will take it out. Don't drag on the wires. I will take it. I will explain it. But I had one time in Egypt. It was horrible. Yeah, you're not allowed to fly with it. Yeah, I'm allowed to fly with it. Yeah, but this battery is... Yeah, but here it says this battery is like this milliampere and everything. Yeah, but yeah, you can't go. I'm gonna ask another one. And at the end, there was 5 person. And they didn't know what they are talking about. There was one guy and he saw it, $5,000, and it was okay. So, but here in Europe, I didn't face any big problems with flying with rebreathers. It's always in Egypt when I'm arrived. What is this? And I think there are a lot of people coming to Egypt with a rebreather, and every time what is this?
Do you bring your own sorb with you, or usually when you go there, like you try to pick places that have it?
Yeah, I'm always picking the place, and most of the same places. They are rebreather friendly.
Okay.
So I don't have to take any tanks with me. I don't need to bring any sorb with me. Last year I did it in Egypt because there was a lot of shortness of sorb. So the dive center where I'm always going with, they said, yeah, Kurt, can you bring your own sorb with you? Because I'm sorry, but we don't have any sorb at this moment. Okay, and also the prices are massive. It's the double of the price of here in Belgium. But you dive with a rebreather. So if you don't want to pay it, you don't have to dive with a rebreather.
Yeah. Well, awesome, man. I really appreciate you coming on to the podcast today. I have 2 last questions for you. The first one being, what advice would you give to somebody that is about to start their journey into overhead environments? What is a key piece of advice that you could give before somebody that's about to get into that type of diving?
The first advice I bring to the people is don't go too quick. I know people, they start cavern diving with 40, 50 dives total in their career. In my eyes, that's not possible. After 50 dives, you don't have the buoyancy that you need to. So take your time. Take a good instructor. I'm not saying that I'm a good instructor, but take a good instructor, not the organization. And take also an instructor where you're feeling good with it. That's the first thing. And then when you're doing the course, enjoy. I know enjoying in a course, it's difficult, but try to enjoy. And if there is a problem, you're facing a problem from, okay, I'm going over my limits, just say it. Everybody can call a dive every time, the moment he wants. It's not because I'm saying, okay, we're going now 300 meters far into a cave, that you have to go 300 meters. Take your time to grow. I had 2 years ago a student of mine, a female student. She asked me, yeah, Kurt, I want to do the course. Is it possible? Okay, yeah. And we went to the cave. And after 5 meters, she said, we're going back out. And now she's going 400 or 500 meters wide. It's lovely to see somebody like she's growing that big, but she does it on her own tempo and she's still enjoying it.
Okay, no, that must be an amazing thing to see from where she started not wanting to, or just hesitant, and then now she's really pushing it. So that's amazing.
She starts now on a rebreather. So.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Is she on a Divesoft?
Yeah, of course, of course.
And then my last question before I let you go is the kind of the same thing, but for the up and coming photographer, just any pieces of advice that you could give for people just kind of getting into that aspect of diving.
Well, you don't have to buy immediately expensive material. Just a small camera is already good enough. But take your time also to grow. Practice a lot. Try to do some other things. If you have a picture and said, it's not that good, how can I change it? Try it. And of course, with the cameras we use now, you have to take it to Lightroom.
Yeah.
Without Lightroom or Photoshop, you don't have any good picture.
I agree. I swear that's like my biggest challenge sometimes is when I go into the editing room and then, I get to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm way over editing this. And then I'm like, okay, I try to tone it back. And I feel like I've got a good rhythm now, but there's always just something I feel like I need to work on. like this could look a little bit better, but it's just a hobby. So it's one of those things.
Yeah, for me it's also a hobby.
But you're producing some pretty nice pictures, so that's a good hobby. Kurt, man, thank you very, very much for participating and joining me on the podcast today. I really appreciate it. It's been amazing to hear your story, and yeah, just thank you very much. It's been great.
Okay, no problem, Nick. Thank you for the invitation.
Off-gassing, a scuba podcast.